Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Catch Up After College podcast. We're catching up after college on the lessons of life lived by leaders. We're a safe space grounded in grace, and our aim is always to aid. We may be post-graduation, but we're never post-education. I'm Isaiah Brown, your host. Thank you for tuning in today. In season 3, we continue with some guests who are ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Almost messed that up. Sharing their experiences of how they got to be the way they are and how you can too. So today we have my homie, my brother, David Cooley here with us today. What's happening?
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Good to be here.
Cool. Good to have you, man. And you say you worked out today, did a little stuff, got work done and all that?
Yeah, did my little 3-mile run, some calisthenics, got to start the day right.
Nice. Okay. You ever run a marathon yet?
Yeah, actually, I've run a couple marathons. Running is kind of my passion, so it's also a great stress reliever for me. Whenever I feel like I'm overwhelmed with anything, I usually lace them up and hit the pavement for a few miles.
Nice. Okay. You're looking pretty slim. Are you still lifting or?
Man, I'm not allowed, in my job, my profession, I'm not necessarily allowed to use public gyms just because of, the global pandemic. So I've just been doing a lot of calisthenics, and I'm a vegetarian leaning toward vegan. So that's probably like what you're seeing too.
Yeah, gotta get that protein in,
It's tough, but I've been cooking a lot more. Like you said, you were making your food, and I've been cooking a lot more, and it's just different too, because you don't realize how like those processed foods that we normally eat, like they cause like inflammation and stuff in your belly. So that has something to do with it too. Once you start to get down to it, you lose that excess adipose tissue that we like to call fat around our guts and everywhere else.
Dang, I didn't know that. What kind of processed foods are you talking about? Like, is it meat or?
Well, well, meat could be processed too. Anything like packaged, like a lot of, like some people still eat like bologna or like those lunch meats and stuff like that. Anything that comes in packaging. Sometimes you'll have like stuff that, if you think about it, the shelf life, if you have like some Twinkies and stuff like that last for forever, that stuff is definitely not good for you. Imagine what it's doing in your stomach and the rest of your body,
Dang, man. Hey, I thought it'd be cool if we mentioned this. So you're a freestyle rapper, is that correct?
That is correct. That's also one of my hobbies.
Cool, man. Like, how long you been doing that for?
Shoot, I'm 33 now, so probably 20 years.
Dang. Okay, you're pretty experienced then. But I was trying to test this out before we came on. I was like, how are we gonna make this happen if you were open to freestyle rapping over Zoom? Because I don't know how to play a beat for you. But would you be open to something like that?
Definitely.
Okay. Cool. I don't even know if I could beatbox because then my audio will overlap with your audio. So how do you want to do this?
I can just do a acapella if you gave me a catchword or a topic or something like that.
Oh, okay. Nice. How about in honor of the late Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther?
All right. So he's the Black Panther. When you see him, everybody takes a second gander. They got vibranium. I'm coming for your cranium because he's pulling out the claws. But I'm still repping for the Lord. It's not a lost cause, even though we lost one of the bosses. The win, you lose, you get some losses, but you get up and keep moving. Just like his father told him, get up, son, you're a king. Get off your knees as I breeze. Listen to the breeze. I don't do the tease, but I'm coming from Wakanda, not Rwanda, still in Africa. I'm about to battle ya, to bring the Avengers. Never I'll linger and never get injured. Even though Killmonger tried to take me out, I rose from the ashes. Outlasters, outlandish, sort of like my parents, holding me close to my chest. He was the best, walking up among the men. He was going to the children's hospitals and becoming friends right before he met his untimely end. shall we begin again and walk in the same footsteps? Because he did pave a way, he left a legacy. As we moving closer to the end, it's still the beginning. Should we begin again and take off where he left in his footsteps? Black Panther, better take a gander. True master, outlast you.
Hey, that's an oh snap moment. Okay, cool. All right, dude, that's awesome. I love it, and I'm sure you already know. Like, one of the reasons I started rapping is because you were one of the rappers around me at the time, and I remember we performed our song at church with that Fruity Loops beat, but it was good times. It was cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
We did have some good times.
yeah, awesome, man. Cool. Well, it's time to get to know you a bit better. Do you mind telling us where you're from, and can you describe what your life was like before college?
Okay, all right. So I'm originally from New York. I was born in Queens, raised mostly in Long Island. I have four brothers. The second oldest of the five of us. It was pretty tough growing up where I grew up. Pretty impoverished, but my parents were very dedicated parents, and they made sure that we had the tools that we needed to be successful in the world. Before college, actually, I attended college while in the military, so and still am. So it was some hardships, going to school full time as well as working full time. So there's that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't know you're doing that full time. I thought you were doing part time.
Yeah, so I mean, for us, because the classes are accelerated, you have like it's not in-person classes. When I was overseas, I had like hybrid classes. So maybe we would be in class for 2 days, and then the other 2 or the other 3 days they would be online.
Mhm.
So I would take like 2 or 3 classes each time. Sometimes 4, just depends like how it fell. So I would be doing my job during the day, like my normal day job. Then I would come home like around 6 o'clock at night and then work on homework till sometimes like midnight or 1 in the morning, and
Whoa.
then go to sleep for a couple hours and get up and do it all again.
Wow. Can you imagine doing that again, like that kind of season?
Yeah, man. I'm actually about to get back into that in October because I'm finishing my undergrad, and then I'm just gonna roll right into my master's degree because of the field that I'm in. I'm trying to actually become a Navy chaplain,
Mhm.
and so it's very my classes are psychologically intensive because my major is Christian counseling. But then
Mm.
right after that, since it's a master's of divinity, and I don't want to waste any more time trying to meet my goal. It's like right into it. So in October, I'll be taking 2 classes to start, but right after that, it will be 2. Whereas it's 8-week courses, whereas normally it's 16 weeks, so it's
Mhm.
accelerated.
Dang. Wow. That's crazy, man. I'm wishing the best for you. Hope that goes great. But how'd you know college was the right path for you personally?
Um, For me, I feel like they are not necessarily like must-haves. Like you don't have to go to college, but for me, I found like education was not just something that would kind of catapult me into a great space and be able to operate on a higher level. But I really enjoy learning new things, and once I realized what field that I wanted to be in, it made it even better for me. Like um, going to college was always something that my parents spoke about, but it was like, okay, I want you to go to college. I want you to go to college. But for me, it wasn't necessarily financially allowable just because of where we were in socioeconomically, my family. But once I joined the military, and it was so pretty much free for us to join. I mean, for us to go to school. I was like, yeah, I really want to take advantage of this while I have the opportunity because it was an important thing for me. I just wanted to make sure that I was able to do it without the added stress of the financial burden, and be able to better myself and be a better example for my younger brothers and those who I knew growing up in the neighborhood. Just because the circumstances that we were all presented with, sometimes you feel like you can't But when you see somebody who's done it, come back and tell them that they can, it kind of makes a difference.
Yeah. And I remember, well, actually, I just asked, how did you know college was the right path for you? But how did you know the military was the right path for you too?
Um, I didn't know actually at first. I didn't. I would say I wasn't going to join the military. I wasn't, not that I was against it, but so many people in my family were military, and I just wanted to do something different. But in high school, like around ninth grade, 10th grade, I started going through Army ROTC, JROTC, and it was just fun. It was a lot of camaraderie, a lot of bonding, things like that. And I enjoyed wearing the uniform. I enjoyed like that, those relationships. So I started to change my mind, like maybe I could, And then when I found out there were educational opportunities attached to it, I was like, I can do this. Maybe for a little while,
Yeah.
um, I can do it.
Dang. And now how long has it been?
Shoot, man, it's almost in January. It'll be 15 years.
My goodness. Did you ever see yourself going this long or is
Not at first, nah.
yeah.
But the type of person I am, man. How competitive I am, and
Yeah.
how driven I am. So like once I got my foot in the door and I realized, um, I could do a lot, and I would have the opportunity to touch so many lives and build so many relationships. I was like, well, I mean, I feel like the Lord's called me to do this stuff, so I can't leave until it's all done.
Yeah. Man. And you say you've been overseas and you haven't just lived in the US. Can you recall a season of having to learn new skills or adapt to your environment to survive?
Man, absolutely. When I lived in Italy for 3 years, and during that time, like, of course, there's a language barrier. So instead of being the typical American and being like, "Oh, you guys don't speak English," you go to somebody else's country and you expect them to speak English. I started. I looked at it as, man, I need to learn how to speak this language. So I started to study a little bit. Now I'm not fluent, and I'm not even really good at speaking Italian, but I, I grew, I learned enough to be able to carry on conversations and to kind of hold my own, buy things, ask for directions, different things like that. Um, but it was tough, because just the mindset is different than being in America. Like for example, for us, we'll always go go go, chasing the next thing. But the mentality over there is like relax, chill, if it's not hurting anybody, if it's not gonna, the house isn't gonna burn down, then it can wait, and they just kind of chill. And I feel like when it comes to that stuff, maybe we could take a trick out of their book when it comes to that. Maybe we won't be so stressed out about things all the time.
Yeah. That reminds me of my season in Australia. They kind of had the same mindset, like just a bit laid back and it was good times. Like I would work 20 hours a week and I would be good. I could pay all my bills and all that. They'd pay us well, just go to the beach, hang out with friends and all that. Can you recall any Italian adventures you had going off base and all that?
Oh, we actually would go to this beach called Cefalu, and it was so there's so many adventures I could like name. We went to this place called Lipari. It's one of the Aeolian Islands. There's seven of them, and my wife Josie and we rode these quad bikes up the mountainside all
Nice.
the way up to the top until we got to a restaurant. Now this is at the top of a mountain, and we were the only people in this restaurant. So before we went inside the restaurant, we were like doing donuts in the dust, like in the dirt,
Wow.
and on these quad bikes. It's just awesome. I mean, aside from that, another challenge is just being kind of like having to rely on just one other person. Like I really didn't know a whole lot of people there at first, so it was just the two of us. And
Yeah.
I'm used to having a lot of people and a lot of support and having our friends around and stuff like that. But you
Mhm.
kind of learn how I call it the wilderness season, because
Mm.
sometimes like God puts us in positions where we have to depend solely on Him,
Mhm.
and then when you come out of that, it's like, man, I could make this. I could make it in another situation, because I know that I'm really not alone if I rely on God. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. And I know you say you're studying Christian counseling. So while studying your major, in what ways did it challenge your faith and vice versa, learning all that new stuff?
I think that like a lot of Christians or maybe just a lot of people in the faith are like, I don't want to say closed minded, but it's like one sided and they don't really want to hear. You don't necessarily have to agree with everybody or agree with, different ideals, but being able to listen, it bridges the gap and it causes and allows you to build relationships and network with other people. And who knows, it might even change your worldview a little bit in a good way. So for me, it allowed me to think a little bit outside the box and see things from other people's point of view. And it was challenging because sometimes it's some of the things that you believe, which is cultural, not biblical, you feel dead set on those things. But it challenged me in my faith to just go and seek it out for myself instead of just listening to other people say things that really isn't in the Word of God. Just it's just a preference. It's just something that's been ingrained into them culturally over time.
Mm, yeah. And I'm guessing you're studying a lot of psychology at the moment, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Or no?
absolutely. And the biggest thing that they talk about in these classes is integration, like integrating like the I guess biblical theology with psychology and
Hmm.
how they can go hand in hand. Like one of them doesn't have to throw salt on the other to lift up itself. They can
Hmm.
work together. Because I believe that God uses all of the talents of man for His glory, unless if you're walking with Him, He these are redeemable things. And I believe that once we realize it, then maybe we'll be a little bit better off.
Yeah. And off the top of your head, can you think of anything you've learned in psychology that actually supports what you believe? Like when people hear of studying that kind of stuff, they get kind of afraid, like uh, maybe it goes against my beliefs, but can you think of anything that actually supported your faith?
Definitely. So if you think about how your mind works and how we were created to with a need to feel love, and that psychology actually talks about the same that in that aspect talks about the same thing when we talk about the nature versus nurture thing.
Hmm.
What happens if you don't receive the love that all of us has been implanted in us from the beginning? What could possibly happen? So that aligns, with my faith in that aspect. If I could say one thing.
Yeah, that's great stuff. And as I said before, we're on season 3, Extraordinary People. Can you think of anybody who have been some extraordinary influencers in your life personally?
Um, First of all, my mom. My mom was like an amazing woman, very driven, dedicated, motivated, and she was she persevered through some hard stuff. Um, and I watched her take care of us and still, you know, do her best when the cards and the chips were down. You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't. I'm not. Your dad, man. Your dad. He definitely influenced my life a lot. I was still kind of young in my walk when I met your dad, and he showed me how to just like stand firm and not be swayed by what people say, and it's okay to do that. You don't have to feel bad about doing what's right. Because your dad, no matter what, he would always be like, nah, nope, they can do whatever they can do whatever they want, but I'm not
Mhm.
doing it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, man. And then my grandpa. My grandpa was like the first person I knew that was in the military. Um, he's always been pretty solid in my life. There was nothing that I couldn't ask him for or for him to do for me, even when I was a kid, like growing up. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. And what traits do you look for in a person that truly believe that they are extraordinary, in your opinion, like character traits that stand out?
Just not knowing the word quit. like never giving up no matter what. Life sucks sometimes. Things are gonna not go your way, but how are you gonna respond? Are you gonna sit there and just take it, or are you gonna get up and fight against whatever it is that's you're facing? Compassion. We all know that nobody's perfect. So if you see someone that's different from you and you tear them down instead of building them up, then I mean I think that's a poor quality for me. You know, I think that's I wouldn't. Obviously, there's people who are like that I know, and I do hang around them, but it's not often, and it's for like the relationship because I always hope that the life that I live under Christ would be a lesson for some others for people to follow. Like I'm not necessarily going to be walking around with a Bible, quoting scripture. Nah, but the life that you live should be the lesson that you teach to people. So yeah, I think just like being, just persevering and not letting things make you quit, and then just being compassionate and having compassion for people.
Awesome, man. And I definitely see that in you. That's why you're on the podcast right now.
my man.
Yeah. Cool. So what are different ways that you or others challenge yourself for consistent improvement for not only what you do, but for who you are?
Man, I think some like you guys, and then some of my other friends, like they would challenge me by telling me who I really am. Like if I'm jacking something up, if I did something wrong, they will be like, "Yo, Dave, man, you missed the mark here."
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't need friends who are going to tell me what I want to hear and stroke my ego all the time. I need people to tell me the truth, whether it's you need to change, like there's something in you that stinks, you need to fix it, or hey, this is the area that you can work on. I think that those are keys, man, because you don't want to be walking around with people telling you. That's like you having a booger in your nose and you're with your friends the whole time, and then a stranger tells you, "Hey, man, you got a booger," but I've been around you the whole day, and you're my friend. You didn't say it the whole time. Like if I'm doing something that's wrong, I expect you to correct me.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm going to do for them. But if you're my friend and I can't correct you without you getting upset, then what are we doing here?
Yeah. Can you give a tip or two for healthy confrontations and making that happen?
So I think the number one thing is relationship, right? So if you have a relationship with somebody, then they know that you have good intentions and that what you say it maybe have more impact. Well, it's definitely going to have more impact if you didn't have a relationship with them. So I could tell you, Isaiah, like because you know me, you've known me, you know that I don't mean you any harm. So if I saw you doing something like messed up, I could tell you like, hey man, this is probably not good for you to be doing because X, Y, and Z. But another thing is, I'm not going to tell you in the open where other people can probably hear, especially those who don't know you, those who may or may not have your best intentions at heart. So one, the relationship piece, having that relationship with somebody. Don't just like tell somebody about themselves and you don't know them, like because it's probably not going to be received well. And then two, have respect for them enough to not put them in a situation where they'll feel humiliated. Because if that's the case, even if they're your friend, they'll try to defend themselves because they feel bad that you did this in front of other people. So, protect your friendship and protect your friend by doing that, having that relationship, pull them aside like, hey man, and now, but if you guys are in a circle where it's all, yeah, like if it's, for instance, this you, me, Josh, Matt, and we spent time with one another, then I would feel comfortable doing that, like, hey man, yo, because I feel like we've done this before and we can laugh about it and be like, okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's true. And speaking on relationships, you're a married man, correct?
Yes sir. It'll be 11 years September 18th actually.
Whoa, okay, did not know that. That's awesome. Shout out Josie. Awesome. And what has been the biggest surprise in marriage and or adulthood so far?
Man, it's been a lot of those. The biggest surprise in marriage is basically like your pride can consume areas in your marriage if it's not checked. And I don't know if that's a surprise. I mean, just learning, just going through the years and just like not really thinking like I had an issue with it, but really finding out over the years, it's like, dang man, this could actually, if I'm humble, things will work out better than if I continue to just be prideful. And it was surprising to me that once I realized um, that my error, that things will be a lot better. There's no such thing as a perfect marriage, but there's one that fits. And then being an adult, man, bills suck. Like having to make these kind of decisions when it comes to finances, it sucks. And like some of my friends, I look at them and I'm like, man, yeah, you guys do the most. You're not even thinking about, you're thinking about like, flossing in front of your friends, or maybe, having the best, that's like the best. I like the dress too, but, I'd rather live in a nice house that I feel comfortable in before I go buy like the next pair of Jordans, or, daggone a Gucci belt, or, whatever the fad or the trend is, these days.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And do you mind explaining what you do for work again at the moment?
So right now I'm actually a medical officer recruiter. So what I do is I basically, now that we're in the pandemic world, I do a lot of virtual career fairs and presentations geared towards doctors and dentists, basically offering them scholarships and I guess in return for service, military service, Navy service more specifically. So I recruit for the Health Profession Scholarship Program for the Navy.
Wow, that's pretty cool. How do you find candidates for that?
So man, the program is so I guess robust. It's not even hard because basically what I would do is I would go to a school. Now in Philadelphia, I have Temple, I have Drexel, I have Thomas Jefferson. Just to name a few, there's a lot. There's University of Pennsylvania. I would basically go to a school, do a presentation, give all of the facts about what we offer, and leave my information, leave some cards, we call them recruiting aided devices, which is like cups and pens and stuff like that. And usually the applicants, they give me a call, we go over the process, and that's how it works. Yeah, it's just like, so let me tell you, just in case somebody's listening and they're a pre-health student, pre-med, this program, it offers 100% tuition to medical school.
Wow.
You get a stipend of about $2,400 a month, and you're eligible for a $20,000 bonus. So you'll go to school for 4 years in medical school. The Navy pays for it all, 100%. Doesn't matter if it's the most expensive school in the United States, as long as it's accredited, they'll pay for it. And the only thing that you have to pay back is 4 years of service.
Yeah.
That's it. No student loans aside from your undergrad loans. The Navy's not going to pay for the undergrad loans, but they'll pay for all of your medical school. And if you have all of your supplies, like say for instance you need a stethoscope or a lab coat, you buy that and then you submit your receipt and then you'll be reimbursed.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty cool. And how has work changed in any way with COVID and all of 2020?
So the bulk of work has been teleworking. They issue us, when I first got to that job, they issued me a computer and an iPhone. So
wow.
I could work remote anyways. And I also have a printer, a portable printer, portable scanner. So it changed in the way that I'm not necessarily able to go and meet students face to face, but I can still get what I need to get done. I wasn't necessarily going into the office, so I was essentially working from home. So I just turned one of our bedrooms into an office,
Hmm.
And I got up every day like I was going to work,
Nice.
sat in front of my computer, send out emails, and made phone calls, and do conferences and different things like that from home.
Nice. That's cool. How do you stay self-disciplined?
It's just I think about why I wanted to become a recruiter. Like I wanted to become a recruiter because I wanted to offer opportunities to people who would maybe not have received them had they not been informed about the programs that we offer. So sometimes, yeah, I think like, man, I don't feel like doing this, especially during the pandemic. I would think that, but remembering why I wanted to do it, regular exercise, and a lot of honestly a lot of prayer, man.
Yeah. And 2020, it's been a crazy year, but what are the first couple of things that come to mind for you personally when you think of 2020?
Loss.
Mm,
I think of loss, man. Um,
mhm.
just so many lives lost, and I'm not just talking about like celebrities or the icons. I'm talking about the people. So many like through deficits.
Yeah.
Through the COVID deficit, how many lives were lost? It's heartbreaking. Um,
Mhm.
but I also know that through that loss, there will be some gain. There will be redemption. It's hard
Mhm.
to see now. It's like you're in a smoky room, but you know that there's a door somewhere.
Mhm.
There's a way out. You just can't see it right now.
Yeah.
Smoke
How
has to clear.
Oh, what was that?
I said the smoke has to clear eventually.
That's true. And how do you personally stay hopeful in this season?
Having conversations with a lot of people smarter than myself, um, trying to stay connected with my family, even though I can't physically see them, but I call them. We have Zoom calls. Um, I've actually been reading a lot more. I have you can see the books in the background in my
Yeah.
some of those books I have had for maybe 10 years. Haven't read
Wow.
them. So during the quarantine, I've read uh, 5 books,
Nice.
five books that I've had for a while, and now that's not counting the ones that I'm reading right now. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, it's
Dang.
been good. It's been good, I've been able to like address some things in my diet that weren't necessarily good for me and start cooking more. Uh, my Josh actually sent me a book. A mutual friend of ours had sent me a cookbook, and I've been using it, man. And it's been good. Food actually turned out pretty good too.
Nice, man. I can't give up chicken. That's just where I am right now. At least it's baked chicken though, so it's not too bad. Yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
awesome. So, can you give one tip to being a great leader in your field of work?
Um, know your people. It's not always. It's not. It's more about them than it is about the mission. Because without them, the mission would never be accomplished. So if you know your people, you know their strengths, you know their weaknesses, you know what's going on with them at home. They know that you care about them. The performance will be way better if you just telling them, cracking the whip all the time. Hey, there's a deadline. There's a deadline. There's a deadline. If you let people know that you actually care, you genuinely care about them, there's almost there's almost nothing that they'll do for you.
That's awesome. People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. Heard that before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. And we talked about this a bit before, but what's your dream job again, and how'd you discover what it was?
So I think I know my dream job is to be actually talking to people, just like listening and talking and building relationships. Like I would love to be a Navy chaplain, just because I feel like my experiences and even the ones that I'm constantly having is preparing me for that. And it just gives me an opportunity to talk about who I love while doing what I love, which is talking to people. So I'm getting a chance to talk about Jesus, and I'm getting a chance to talk about to listen to people and build relationships with them.
Yeah. And do you have a specific demographic in mind?
No, not at all.
Hmm.
Not at all. No.
Okay, that's cool. Reach everybody. But
Yeah, that's the thing. Yep.
yeah, and life expectations before and after college. But I guess you're still going back to college. How'd they changed anyway?
Um, I think they have changed in the way where I was thinking about it, maybe more selfish. Like I want to go to school so I can better myself, so that I can grow myself. But being able to share that knowledge with others, especially in the current climate that we're in, like I feel like I can give more and help people realize that it's something that they can do as well if they so choose. I
Mhm.
understand. We've been in a situation where systemic racism is a thing, you know. But when it's not, when someone doesn't have a positive role model or someone who's willing to go the extra mile to let them know that they can do things and to affirm them, that it just adds fuel to the fire. It just makes it worse.
Mm. Yeah. I want to thank you for being a great role model. You met me when I was a crazy 16-year-old. So, we stuck it through.
You were crazy though. You were, man. You know
Yeah.
what? I appreciate you, man, because like it just shows, you're rearing, your parents, they instilled the foundations, your foundation, and it allows you to be the man that you are today. So I cherished all of the times that we shared together, and I appreciate, you bigging me up on here, but man, it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard work.
Hey, appreciate it. Hopefully see y'all soon. We got to.
I
But
know, man. You have to. You have to.
yeah.
Come on out to Philly, man. I get
Hey,
you
you never know.
to Philly.
Cool. And let's see. What are some habits you developed in school that you still use today?
Um, Repetition. Like I still have to study for different like for promotions and stuff like that, and we have like exams we have to take. But whenever I was in college, even before I got into college, I struggled with test anxiety, and so I realized that if I did something a lot, then I would feel confident whenever the test came, and then anxiety just left. So what I do now is kind of weird. I have notebooks, and if I'm reading like a manual or something like that, I'll copy what I'm reading in the manual on my notebooks, and I'll write it over and over and over again, and then I'll do flashcards, and then I'll read the flashcards, and then I'll record myself. So I'm using all of the different methods of learning so that I can feel comfortable when the test comes and there's no anxiety. I'm not anxious.
Mm.
There's normal nervousness, but like I'm telling you, bro, I used to sweat. You could see like my armpit sweat and everything like that before an exam. So just repetition, muscle memory. That's it. Like over and over again, I'll read, I'll write, I'll listen, then I'll do it again, read, write, listen. And it helps me to retain information, not just for short term, but for long term memory as well.
Nice. And we talked about this a little bit before. Oh, day. Oh, okay. One of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all good. It's
Edit it out.
I'll try to. Yeah. Mental note. Yeah. We'll see. But I guess we kind of talked about this before, but any books or podcasts, learning resources you recommend right now?
I actually just read. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I'm just writing it
Uh,
down.
I actually just read Woke Church. It's by Dr. Eric Mason. He also happens to be my pastor here at Fish Epiphany Fellowship. It's basically about like how the body of Christ and the church, the called out, like how it was supposed to be, and how it got distorted over time and has caused division through race and different things like that, and how it can be redeemed through knowledge and understanding. I'm also reading The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. It speaks about mass incarceration and how that's played a role in distorting the view of African American males in America. David Goggins is Can't Hurt Me. He's a retired Navy Chief SEAL. He was also a Ranger, also Air Force pararescue. But his story is amazing, and it just like reinforces that never quit attitude within myself. And I recommend it to anybody who may be going through something or feel like they just can't do something. But this guy's story is awesome, and I've listened to the audiobook like 5 times just because it's so inspiring. So inspiring. And then Manhood Restored is also by Dr. Eric Mason. It talks about different types of things that have taken effect in the lives of men to make them lose their way and what it really means to be a man, whether it's from outside influences or from family upbringing.
Nice. Any music you recommend as a rapper?
Man, you know. So I'm a huge fan of lyrics. A lot of people, they just listen to the beat of a song and they're like, "Oh, that's a dope song." But I'm a huge fan of lyrics and lyricists. So right now, I just started listening to Lecrae's new album, Restoration.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. I was like, man, I wasn't the one like that was like bad mouthing Craig, but I did go to one of his concerts one time, and I was kind of like put off a little bit. But I was like, yeah, I read his book, and I was like, yeah, I understand, bro. I'm riding with you. So it's very that the new album is very transparent. I think next to Rebel, this one is probably like the most transparent one since then.
Yeah.
I'm also like on a secular secular music. I actually like old school hip hop, like New York hip hop. So the Lox, they just released a new album called Living Off Experience. If you can, get the clean version. Or not, whatever you choose, or not. That's pretty good. It shows their relevance and how they've grown as men, because I remember, when they first came in the hip hop game, the things that they were talking about back then and the things that they're talking about now, they're actually talking about their kids and their experiences, not necessarily so much about like the stuff that the streets wanted to hear. Like, I got this amount of money, I got these women, I have this, this gun or whatever like that. But they're actually talking about real life and how they've changed, and and then Nas, he has an album called King's Disease, which is really good. He the album before this one was called Lost Tapes 2, and I wasn't really feeling that. The production was okay, but it just didn't seem like Nas to me. So
yeah,
being a native New Yorker, man, I listen to a lot of like boom bap hip hop, and I'm into like Large Professor Productions and stuff like that. So
yeah, there's not much of that nowadays. Well, I guess you just gotta look for it, nowadays. But all right. In closing, I got one more question for you. If there's one thing you could ask your future self, what would it be? And if there's one thing you could tell your high school self, what would it be?
So my future self, okay, I'll start off with my high school self. So if my high school self, I would tell him that no matter what anybody else sees in you, you're great. Because when I was in high school, I played sports, and I felt like I wasn't given opportunities that maybe the people that around me did, and I felt like I worked twice as hard as them. But maybe that there was a greater purpose for you, and that you're still great. You're not less than, you're not weaker. you're still great. That's what I would tell myself. My future self, man, that's tough. Um, there's always more. There's always more. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter, you can, there's no finish line. Death is the only finish line because at that point I'm leaving the earth and I'm getting to go and be with Jesus. Other than that, keep pushing. There's always something. There's always somebody that needs something. There's always another height that you can, reach. There's always another limit that you can push. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool, man. Well, thank you for coming on. It's been great quality, and I love what you had to say. It's pretty awesome.
Thanks, bro, man. I appreciate you inviting me on, and I love you, man, and hopefully we get a chance to hang out in person soon.
Yeah, hopefully. And just want to encourage you before you go. I know that you're a good man, and as you seek God first, He's just going to keep taking you exactly where you need to go, and just keep trusting in Him because He's never going to fail you. So you got this, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah. And anything you want to promote at the moment? Any new music coming out or anything? Websites?
Nah, you guys just have to wait. We'll get back in the lab. We still have that collab that we were working on.
Yeah, Josh actually has it, so if he wants to produce it, he can do it.
Yeah, I just need to hit because you guys were working on. He was mixing it the last time, so
yeah.
I don't know if he's done or what.
Who knows? Now, but yeah, I'll have to do it in my spare time for sure because it's a good song. But yeah, thanks again for coming on, and have a good night.
You too, bro.
Cool. And for everyone else, until next time, as we're maturing, we're going to keep learning, stirring up, and chasing after what our Creator created us to do. So have a good one, everyone. Peace.